Sorry we missed the press event last week. We're a little tied up upstairs. And to be honest, I think this whole, Todd, nice to have you back. This whole issue of Chapter 20, I think, is going to continue to dominate and hang over this Capitol like a cloud. I mean, it's obvious that the Democrats are starting to circle and take shots at themselves. I had an opportunity to record Iowa's Agenda, the cable television public affairs show this morning with Senator Hatch. And Senator Hatch expressed complete bafflement that Governor Culver hasn't already signed this bill, and that every Democrat knew when they ran as a Democrat that this was expected of them. You're going to pass that bill. Sorry. You're expected as a Democrat that you're going to support open scope collective bargaining. That's part of what it means to run for the legislature as a Democrat. So I think there are a number of Democrats that didn't get that message. Apparently there were at least 3 on the Senate side. And to be honest, I think there are a lot of Democrats that are having buyer's remorse now, having had a week to hear from their city councils, their school boards, their community college presidents, their public hospital boards, or regents, you name it. I've yet to find a local elected official who thinks this is a good idea. At least they haven't contacted my office. My email's being overrun with emails from local elected officials who think this is a terrible idea. So I imagine that this will hang over the General Assembly until we adjourn. Other than that, funnel week, a number of bills died. I'm deeply concerned. It looks like the immigration bill is probably dead for the year. I realize that they have now referred it to, I believe, Ways and Means Committee. The immigration bill has no tax implication in it at all. So I'm not sure how it is going to arrive in Ways and Means Committee. I thought that this was a priority of the majority party, yet they couldn't find the time to debate that bill. We sat around last night for hours doing nothing, and the majority party made no attempt to bring that bill to the floor for debate. So Republicans are disappointed in that. We had a number of amendments we thought that were constructive, that would have strengthened that piece of legislation, and we're looking forward for the opportunity to debate it. We hope they'll bring it out of Ways and Means Committee next week. If they're serious about it, they will. If they're not so serious about it, probably not. We're also a little perplexed why the IPERS bill hasn't been advanced through the funnel yet this week. It's an even-numbered year. That means we do an IPERS bill. Yet we still haven't seen that scheduled for debate on the calendar. I'm not sure exactly what parliamentary tricks they're going to use to keep that bill alive, but I keep getting messages from people about when we're going to debate IPERS, and that hasn't been scheduled for debate yet. So,
what are you going to offer if they bring up the immigration bill? What do you want to see accomplished with that?
We've offered several different pieces. There were Republican priorities having to deal with identity theft that were funneled last time. For instance, notification of an individual when the Department of Revenue and Finance gets 2 social security numbers, or the same social security number issued to 2 different people to notify the individuals. We have an amendment that we believe will put an end to the catch and release policy. The notion that an individual can be arrested for one crime, the law enforcement officials can know that they are an illegal alien and still release them on bond pending trial. Well, if we know they're an illegal alien, that's a crime itself. We should not be releasing those individuals. So it would put an end to the catch and release policy. We've got an amendment that would put an end to the notion that this administration would help or would deter local elected officials and local law enforcement from enforcing immigration laws. We want to put an end to this notion of providing sanctuary. We had several different amendments that we filed. They're all matters of public record. They all reflect bills that Republican legislators had introduced earlier in the session. The Democrats chose to funnel those bills and not allow them for debate. We think that they strengthen the bill that Representative Olson brought out. We all voted, in fact, Republicans provided the votes in Labor Committee to get it out of committee to beat the funnel the first time. They asked us to do that. We willingly did that. We'd be glad to provide votes again to pass this bill. Republicans want to see it brought to the floor for debate and are just baffled that something that the majority leader said back in December was a high priority of his still hasn't come to the floor for debate yet.
2 questions for you, Chris. One,
Yeah.
what other bills are in the same situation, the immigration bill? They've not made any progress, but they've been referred to the committee to keep it technically alive. And second part, what bills are going to die in the funnel today?
I think IPERS they're playing games with the IPERS bill in the Senate. We still don't have that over here. There's immigration, I want to say the
Compulsory.
compulsory, yeah, thank you, the compulsory education bill hasn't been brought up for debate, and they're playing some sort of procedural game to try to keep that bill alive. I'm sorry, I didn't bring that list in with me, but we've identified, I want to say 5 or 6. The concealed carry bill, I think it had almost 50 co-sponsors, if not more, that the majority leader promised Representative Botto would be brought up for debate. That's now gone to Ways and Means, even though there is no fee or fine in it. They may be offering something to raise the permit fee, but that's a bill that appears to be funneled, but he continues to sort of dangle that out there like a carrot. Like I said, there's IPERS and...
You wouldn't care about that, Diane.
Well, the bottom bill is apparently funneled as well, and I don't think they're
That got
keeping...
referred.
That got referred to Appropriations Committee.
Correct.
That again, it looks like it's been funneled, but bills that there were 2 bills today that we were going to object to. They came out of Labor Committee, very controversial. They would have the effect of raising unemployment compensation rates for employers. We were going to object to providing unanimous consent to that. They apparently decided they didn't want to go through that debate, so those bills died in the funnel. That's probably a good thing.
Doctor's
As
choice.
far as I'm concerned. Well, now here's the question, Charlotte. And again, because the IPERS bill is currently sitting over in Ways and Means, or excuse me, sitting over, I believe, in Appropriations Committee in the Senate, even though it's never been an appropriations bill before, it's my understanding that they are trying to include doctor's choice for public employees into the IPERS bill in the Senate. And so I'm not sure while that bill is officially funneled here in the House, I believe that they're still trying to resuscitate that over in the Senate into the IPERS bill.
And the open meetings, open records law is now an appropriations bill in the Senate, so that's in that category of it's still alive
Correct.
in the day.
Yeah.
But
It's interesting that, so many of their priorities, they can't seem to get the votes for to move through the regular process. And so now they're having to play a lot of procedural games to keep those bills alive for the year. I realize your listeners and readers don't care about the procedural games, but I think it is a testament to the fact that they're having a difficult time to pass their own agenda.
Can you give me that list at some point?
I'll tell you what, we'll pull together a list and we'll distribute it to everybody.
Thank you. Anthony?
Anything else?
Do you know anything that's coming up next week, and if so, do you have any opinions on
The majority leader has been extremely vague. I asked him that question just before adjournment. Next week is traditionally the week that we get into debating Ways and Means and appropriations bills, and they have either released a blue calendar, at least I haven't seen the blue calendar yet for Monday, and they don't really have any appropriations bills ready to vote for yet. So I don't know what we're going to be doing next week. Consequently, the public doesn't know what we're going to be debating next week.
REC.
We're still waiting for a balance sheet to be presented. As I asked the majority leader, we're looking forward to a balance sheet and a blue calendar, and neither have been forthcoming at this time. Again, we don't know if they still plan on doing this $300 million bonding scheme, which we think is ill-advised. If they're still planning on doing the combined corporate reporting tax increase, I think the governor's trying to re-inject that back into the debate here at the end, and I appreciate that. It's great, but I understand why he's doing that. Other sort of tax measures they're going to do, are they going to take money out of the ending balance? They haven't been forthcoming with any of that yet.
Well, the REC meets on Friday. Is everything kind of on hold until he gets the numbers?
Well, it shouldn't be. The law says that we're bound by the December revenue estimate.
I understand.
The Democrats have been very clear that they're going to, follow the law. So I don't understand what the big holdup is. The cynic would say that they're waiting to see if the April REC gives them additional revenue to spend. But again, that means they're going to have to change the expenditure limitation law. I think that would be rather embarrassing for the Democrats to have to change the expenditure limitation law after they've made such news about, they're abiding by that, revenues are up so much. When you've got $1 billion that you've already spent, to have to try to raise the expenditure limitation law seems kind of foolish to me.
But it would be beginning next week, excuse me. The budget is going to begin to be.
The budget should start to dominate the agenda of the General Assembly. It should. Traditionally, that's what happens. But the Democrats don't seem to have a roadmap yet on how they're going to balance the budget. Or if they do have a roadmap, they're keeping it all to themselves and unwilling to share it with the public. Okay?
Isn't the issue here mainly about how much money they have left at the end of the current budgeting year, whereby they might be